Admiral Zexathara's mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among the hegemony elite, as she observed the human fleet through her command bridge's viewing portal. The primitive vessels looked like crude metal boxes welded together by children. No elegant curves, no crystalline energy matrices, no bio-neural networks that characterized proper warships. Just steel, ceramic, and what appeared to be, were those actual projectile weapons? "Look at them," she chittered to her tactical officer. "They still use chemical propulsion and kinetic rounds. Our energy shields will absorb their pathetic attacks like morning dew." The galactic hegemony had ruled space for 3 millennia. Their ships were works of art, sleek, organic curves that seemed to flow like liquid metal, powered by quantum cores that could tear holes in reality itself. Energy weapons that could vaporize asteroids, shields that bent spacetime, and tactical AI that could process 1,000,000 combat scenarios per nanosecond. Humanity had been in space for barely 2 centuries. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Determination, watching the alien fleet deploy in textbook formation. The hegemony ships moved with mechanical precision, each vessel taking its predetermined position in what her tactical computer identified as the Serenity pattern, classic encirclement maneuver that had dominated galactic warfare for generations. "They're beautiful," her weapons officer Lieutenant Torres admitted grudgingly. The alien ships shimmered like mirages, their energy fields creating rainbow halos around impossibly graceful hulls. "Beautiful doesn't win wars," Chen replied, her fingers dancing across her command console. "Initiative, adaptation, and pure human stubbornness do. Signal the fleet. Execute Chaos Protocol 7. What happened next would be debated in military academies across the galaxy for centuries. The human ships didn't move into formation. Instead, they scattered like startled birds, each vessel taking seemingly random vectors. Half dove down, relative to the galactic plane, others spun wildly while firing their engines in irregular bursts. The UES reckoning actually began tumbling end over end while somehow maintaining forward momentum. Admiral Zexathara's confidence wavered for the first time in 3 centuries of service. "What are they doing?" "Tactical. Analyze their pattern." "I'd say there is no pattern, Admiral. Their movements appear completely random. Our combat algorithms cannot predict their next positions." The first human ship to engage wasn't the flagship or the largest vessel. It was the UES Papercut, a modified cargo hauler that had been hastily retrofitted with weapons. It came screaming, in from an impossible angle. No military vessel should approach from above the battlefield while spinning like a discus. The hegemony's automated defenses locked onto the ship, energy beams lancing out with mathematical precision. They all missed. The human ship's erratic tumbling meant it was never where the targeting computers predicted it would be. Then, the Papercut fired back. Instead of energy beams, it launched what could only be described as a cloud of metal debris. Thousands of tiny ball bearings, each no larger than a marble, spread out in a cone of destruction. The hegemony ship's shields, designed to deflect concentrated energy attacks, proved utterly useless against the swarm of kinetic projectiles. The bearings punched through the energy field like it wasn't there, riddling the elegant hull with thousands of tiny holes. "Impossible!" Zexathara shrieked. "Their weapons shouldn't be able to penetrate our defenses." But the humans weren't done demonstrating their talent for the impossible. The UES Determination suddenly appeared directly underneath the hegemony flagship, having somehow approached through the gravitational shadow of a nearby moon. Its main guns, crude chemical projectiles that any civilized species had abandoned millennia ago, opened fire at point-blank range. The shells were hollow, filled with what Chen cheerfully referred to as industrial-grade unpleasantness. When they detonated against the alien hull, they released clouds of metallic dust that interfered with energy fields, sticky polymers that gummed up weapon ports, and corrosive acids that ate through even exotic matter composites. More human ships appeared from impossible angles. The UES Mosquito came skimming along the surface of an asteroid, using magnetic grapples to slingshot itself into an attack run. The UES Persistence simply rammed through the middle of the alien formation, its armored prow shrugging off energy. beams while its point defense systems fired constantly in all directions. The hegemony ships found themselves fighting an enemy that refused to follow any logical tactical doctrine. The humans used debris as weapons, turned their own damaged ships into guided missiles, and seemed to think that military discipline was just a polite suggestion. When the UES Longshot fired a spread of nuclear-tipped torpedoes, the hegemony fleet finally adapted, their shields reconfiguring to absorb the thermal and electromagnetic pulse. The torpedoes detonated harmlessly against the energy barriers. Except the warheads weren't the real weapons. Each torpedo was stuffed with thousands of tiny drones that scattered in the explosion, too small for the alien sensors to track individually. The drones swarmed over the hegemony ships like angry wasps, each one carrying a small cutting laser powered by a battery that would last exactly 37 seconds. It was enough. As alien hulls sprouted thousands of tiny holes and their elegant energy matrices began to fluctuate and fail, Admiral Zexathera finally understood what she was facing. These weren't just primitive ships crewed by barbaric aliens. These were chaos engines operated by a species that had apparently weaponized unpredictability itself. "Retreat," she ordered, but it was too late. The human ships had somehow managed to get behind them, around them, and in several cases, impossibly above and below them simultaneously. The battle lasted 14 minutes. When it was over, the human fleet hadn't lost a single vessel, though several looked like they'd been through a scrap metal compactor and somehow kept flying anyway. Captain Chen accepted Admiral Zexathara's surrender personally, boarding the damaged hegemony flagship in a pressure suit because the UES Determination's airlock was temporarily malfunctioning due to some creative modifications her engineer had made. "How?" the alien admiral asked in broken standard. "Your ships, your weapons, they should not work." Chen smiled, the expression hidden behind her helmet's faceplate. "That's the thing about humans, Admiral. We've never been very good at accepting what should and shouldn't work. We prefer to find out for ourselves." As the human fleet escorted their prisoners back to Earth, tactical officers across the galaxy began the painful process of rewriting 3,000 years of military doctrine. The age of elegant, predictable warfare was over. The age of human chaos had begun.